Hello beautiful people and welcome to this video. Let's talk sexuality. Whilst we are at it, I want to invite you on the 4th of November. I am planning and hosting, putting my all into it, a beautiful, wonderful, soul-fulfilling online retreat that will be themed sexuality beyond sex. There will be music, art, dance, food. There'll also be tea ceremonies, and you will learn how to be in touch with yourself even more. And there'll also be chats, definitely chats about deep, meaningful chats about your reclaiming your sexuality. So please come there, and all you have to do to be part of this wonderful group of people, beautiful people like yourself, is fill in the form below and I'll be in touch with you. I'll give you all the details. The online retreat is about 6 hours long. You can come in for an hour. You will see what speaks to you the most, and you can come in for an hour, or you can come in for the whole 6 hours. If you want to get all the details about how much it is and all of that, please contact me on the contact form below. That's that. Speaking of sexuality, I thought I would start that video by explaining what exactly it is that I mean when I talk about sexuality. And to me, it's very much beyond the who you choose to sleep with, what gender you feel that you identify with or you understand best. It's not about which sex position you like or how freaky you are, or it has nothing to do with that. I feel that is more of the effect rather than it is a cause. I believe that our sexuality has to do with who we truly are in our very, very deepest self. I'm not talking about personality, about your favorite car and everything. I'm just talking about who you are, something that doesn't change. Maybe you're a traditional person and you'll see that shows up in who you become sexually. Maybe you're a traumatized person. Maybe you are a free person. Maybe you're an open person. All of that, whatever it is that you truly are, not that you like to be, but what you truly are, will then be expressed. It will influence who you become sexually. And now I'm talking about sexual acts and stuff like that. And that's the kind of sexuality I'm talking about. And today we're talking about setting boundaries and how the connection between healthy sexuality and knowing how to say no. That's a difficult one in a culture like this one. The manifesting culture, even if you don't call it manifestation, but the achieving culture, the success culture, the goals culture, it is a difficult word to hear no when it is being received, because we tend to understand no as a rejection. If I hear a person say, no, I don't want what you're offering me, it sounds like you are rejecting me, and a rejection sounds like death even, like, oh, if you don't like me, that means you might even kill me. So in a culture where no is not that acceptable, it becomes very difficult to set our boundaries. For example, so I've made this one example of like we feel like we are being rejected. The example for that is like we are told growing up that push for your goals. If you want something and you want it badly, you go for it. You go for it. And there's never been a chat or a consideration of like, does the goal want you? Does this thing that you are so badly want to achieve, that you want it so bad, does it want you back? And it's always has been about, if I want it, then it better be here. It doesn't matter if it wants me back. For example, like I know that no matter how much I might want to be a lawyer doesn't want me. It just doesn't. That wouldn't be a goal that would want me back. And it is very important to get to a space where I can accept that some of the things do not want me. Even with foods, I might be so mad, crazy in love with chocolate, and then chocolate looks at me and it's like, I don't want you. That's not what I want right now. And I think that is the first thing that I wanted to touch on, to be like, I understand how we do not understand boundaries when it comes to sexuality, whether it's a sexual act, whether it's how we want to approach anything sexual in our lives, or how we want to be. The term no can be scary because we come from a place of believing that it has to be a yes. If it's not a yes, then I'm rejected. If it's not a yes, then I'm not good enough. Then I didn't exercise enough. Then I didn't do this enough. I didn't do that enough. Instead of realizing that sometimes it is life is a dance of yeses and no. Sometimes the weather will say yes to you, and sometimes it will say no. You'll have plans for a picnic and it'll just decide to rain. It's a no, and that's okay. So that's the first thing that I wanted to talk about when I'm speaking about setting boundaries and putting that no there. I did a video last week, please check it out, where I speak about a yes, an enthusiastic yes, and today I wanted to look at what a no looks like. I made some notes. I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is, we immediately, when we talk about consent and yeses and nos, we immediately think about another person. That, oh, if you are interested in another person, you need to get consent from them. And we hardly talk about getting consent from ourselves, or we don't usually consider getting consent from myself. We are always thinking about, oh, does the person want to, does the person don't want to. And what I mean about that, like when it comes to self-pleasure or masturbation, or even when it comes to sleeping with somebody else, do I get consent from myself? Does my body like to masturbate each day? Does my body like self-pleasuring once a year, or never self-pleasuring? What is it that I have asked, and what kind of consent have I received? And not just the body, does my spirit like it? Does my spirit enjoy this thing that I keep going through? And even deciding who to sleep with, when to sleep with them, getting to the point of like, okay, does my body want to sleep with this person? Does my spirit want to sleep with this? Does my heart want to be with this person? And if there's even just one no, maybe my mind is saying no, maybe my heart is saying, maybe my spirit is saying no, or my body is saying no, do I stop and be like, okay, let me get proper consent from myself before I continue? And that's where boundaries come, and that's what creates a really beautiful, healthy sexuality, is when we are setting clear, beautiful boundaries. And boundaries aren't about like a whip of just telling people don't do this, don't do this. It is actually respect. It is a kind of self-respect, or respecting others, that you would respect another person enough to not do something that your body doesn't feel like. Or respecting myself enough that I'll be like, actually, I feel like my spirit doesn't like self-pleasuring every single time, or my spirit doesn't like self-pleasuring once a year, it wants a little bit more than that. Does that make sense? So it is more grounded on self-respect than it is grounded on other things. So that's one thing I wanted to mention when it comes to the no's. And another one that we think of immediately when you hear consent is, we go directly to, man, I'm using gender very loosely, man, or the masculine one is the one that asks the feminine one, or asks the woman to be the one that is giving consent. And it's like, actually, there's a lot of pressure right now for men to perform, for men to be sexually active, sexually loud, sexually out there, that if he's also feeling the pressure, that like, even if it's like maybe the first date, if I don't come up and be like, hey, I want this, I'll look like a loser, I'll look stupid, or whatever it is that goes on in our heads. So it goes both ways. It's not just like a one-way thing. I wanted to mention that. All right, the last point. Okay, another boundary when it comes to no is what I am capable of doing. I made an example about goals and how it's a culture of like, yeah, if you just put your mind into it, you can do this. You can just get there, instead of being like, actually, as much as I would like to be a soccer player, I'm not capable of, I don't feel capable of being at the gym for 5 hours a day. I don't know how many hours soccer players are there. Just being considerate of what I am capable of and what I am able to do. So that is another way of setting boundaries of like, maybe you feel like your thing would be to date 100 people at the same time. And I think to step back and set a boundary and be like, as much as this looks interesting, as much as this, I'm not capable of paying attention to 100 people. I'm not capable of giving them exactly what they need, all of them at the same time. Does that make sense? So that can affect our decisions on like, as much as I think this is beautiful, I'm not capable, or I'm not capable of having sex on the first date, or any of those things. So setting boundaries, one, with regards to what am I capable of? Do I have enough heart for this? Do I have enough body for this? And not from an ego state, but from reality, to be like, I'm not capable of doing this. And then the second one would be the one that we talked about, had to do with finding consent, even when it comes to self-pleasuring and other things. And not just in the bedroom only, but also in like, do I want to do this? Do I want to be going out tonight? Do I want to be taking this job? And finding that consent. And the third one had to do with the culture we live in, to be aware of the fact that the culture we live in has always been about, if you just want it, it's enough. You don't have to wait for things to want you. That if you just want it, that's enough. That's it for today. I'm going to stop here, and I'm hoping I can see you on my Discord group. All you have to do is fill in the form and let me know that you want to be on the Discord group, and I'll see you there.